Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm in Gransfors and I will be making my own axe here. So I will show you around into the store and to the museum, and of course I will show you the forgery. And yeah, let's go. So the location is not very big. As you can see, we have some directions here that show that down the road there's the Restaurant Augustas, where you can eat, where you can sleep. We have here the store where you can of course buy some axes, and we have a museum, and behind me you can see the forge and the classroom, of course, where I can learn to make my own axe tomorrow.
See, the press goes at its constant speed. It's up to the smith to put the piece in the right place at the right time, of course. The next step is the rough grinding. Taking away most of the material, finding the angle, finding the edge, finding the shape. We do this with the rough grinding paper, 50 grit paper, so it goes pretty quickly. Of course, each model is a little bit different, how far up you grind, what angle, and they do all of this just by hand, working, and this, I think, is the hardest part of making an axe. So I have a lot of respect. So in order for the axe to hold the edge, we have to do the heat treatment. This is what's so incredible about steel, is just by using heat, you can control the structure of the steel and how hard or soft it is. The iron and the carbon that sit together in their it's a little crystalline structure inside the steel. When you heat it up above a certain temperature, if you were to look at it with a microscope, that structure changes. And then when it cools down again, it changes back. So if you heat up above that temperature where that change happens, and then you cool it down quickly, pang, you trap the material in this new state, and then you change the structure. It's a little bit more complicated than this, but we pretend that that's all that's happening. But regardless, you've changed the structure of the steel, and that's the hardening. So the axes move through on their hooks like this, till they're heated up 800 degrees, and then down in the water, cool it off. You don't need to harden the whole axe, it's just where it's going to hold the cutting edge. If you were to then take the axe just after the hardening, sharpen it up, put the handle on it, start using it, it doesn't work very well either. Because what happens as steel gets really hard, it also gets brittle, it gets fragile, it's like glass. Glass is really hard on the surface, but it breaks really easily. And with the hardening, first you just get it as hard as possible. You can't control that as well. But the next step, the tempering, you can really control that. You can bring it just where you want it. There's an oven here that we just put them in. Turn the oven to 200 degrees. So the hardening was 800 degrees and then cool it off quickly. As long as they can come up to 200 degrees, then they've relaxed a little bit. a quality control in every step along the way. Everyone who touches the axe is responsible for the quality. The smith isn't happy, they throw it away. The grinder isn't happy, they throw it away. Of course, hammering the edge is an important one. But when you come up here, then you can really look and see if everything is as it should be. So that's in here. This is the quality control. Checking all the measurements, making sure it looks right. And then if it's approved, then they all get their leather sheath. These ones are also not made here. It's leather from Tancre, which is a tannery 2.5 hours south of here in southern Hälsingland, something like that. Vegetable tanned leather, all made so that it should fit the axes nicely. Also, they all get a copy of the axe book. I'm trying not to touch things too much with my fingers. But this one has a little bit of history of Gransfors and how you use an axe, how you take care of an axe. Again, they started sending the axe book along with the axe when they started stamping in the initials to give a little bit more of the story behind it, a little bit more of the people behind it, so it gives more value to the product rather than just something to throw out in the woodshed. All right. This is the forge, of course. This is where we will be spending most of our time today and tomorrow. In here we have, of course, all the working places. There's 10 forges here, so everyone will get their own place to work. Over there, it's my working places. We'll, of course, find a spot a little bit later once I've shown how we get going and everything. But also in here, we have the grinding room. And in the grinding room, if you have any bags or jackets or things that you need to leave, it can be good to leave them in here. On the left-hand side, there's a burn spray. It's a little gel. That one you just spray on a little bit, and you don't really rub it, just kind of dab it on. It's really nice. Again, small burns I think are part of it. Big burns we try to avoid. If you don't find what you need, or if it's a bigger injury that you need help with, let me know, of course, and I'll decide if we amputate the entire arm or what we do with it. But
you have access.
Yes, we have tools. But of course, I'm happy to help. But you also can just take anything if you need it. Don't hesitate. The important thing here is that for making an axe, generally you need 10 fingers. So the goal is after we do this that we have all 10 fingers left. Sometimes as they're starting to get small, it can be hard to get them to balance a little bit. So of course I can hold it and go like that. That's a nice way to have 9.5 fingers instead of 10. So I would not recommend that. If you're having trouble getting it balanced, I like to just take another piece and hold it like this instead. Wait, as they're smaller, I actually like to do a little bit in this direction. We want nice small pieces for the forge. I don't need a whole lot, but a nice handful. Now it's starting to get there.
Almost here.
If you need to do any more work on the handle, now is the last chance for that. Also, what we need to do is make a wedge that fits. And of course, the eye is a little bit hourglass shaped, so I need to make the wedge a little bit wedge shaped in this direction too. Give it just a little bit of a nicer finish. Now, I'm ready for the fine grinding. The important thing is to follow just as we've been grinding. To never go up into it, that will be a problem. Always follow the direction. The other thing to be careful of is touching the sides of it. So if I polish all the way over and the corner hits the side, then it wants to pull it out of my hands too. So what I like to do is start with the corner of the axe in the middle of the wheel, go into the other corners in the middle of the wheel, and then pull it away. To go both sides. So I turn it around, corner of the axe in the middle, corner to the middle, and back and forth.
Yeah, and also this one, you see it kind of swells up a bit. Try to put your hand up. Now, there you go. It becomes more like a knife.
So my days are over at Gransfors. This is the forged axe, and I've also got a diploma. Actually, the result is pretty good. As you can see, it really looks like an axe. For my first axe, I think I did a great job. You can see there my initials.